Shocking turn. Could it really be true that Yoona and Lee Jun-ho have silenced every rumor with a breathtaking wedding in the heart of Seoul? The whispers, the speculation, and the months of unanswered questions have all led to this unforgettable moment. Join Red Carpet Revealed as we take you inside the most stunning wedding of the year, right now. The soft glow of Seoul's late afternoon sun bathed the glass facade of the hotel in a warm amber light, as if the city itself was holding its breath for what was about to unfold. The streets outside were lined with fans clutching banners, flowers, and camera phones, their faces pressed to the barricades as black sedans glided silently toward the private entrance. Security guards stood shoulder to shoulder, but even they couldn't dampen the hum of anticipation. For months, whispers about Yoona and Lee Jun-ho had ricocheted through tabloids, social media feeds, and fan forums. Were they together? Had they split? Were the rumors about a secret engagement true? And now, the answer was walking straight into the heart of Seoul's most luxurious ballroom. Inside, the air was scented with white roses and gardenias. Hundreds of candles flickered in crystal holders, lining the aisle that led to a grand archway draped in cascading orchids. The soft strains of a string quartet floated above the low murmur of conversation as industry giants, fellow actors, and old friends took their seats. It wasn't just a wedding, it was a gathering of the country's most admired stars, all here to witness a moment that would be etched into K-entertainment history. At the center of it all stood Lee Jun-ho, impeccably dressed in a custom black tuxedo tailored so precisely it seemed to have been molded to his frame. He stood at the altar, hands clasped, a quiet smile playing on his lips. His eyes flicked briefly toward the entrance as though he could will the moment to come faster. Those close enough could see the faint tremor in his fingers. Hands that had performed on stage before tens of thousands without a flicker of hesitation. But this was different. This was the culmination of years of friendship, partnership, and quiet affection, all culminating in the moment she would walk toward him. For Yoona, the walk to the entrance had been a journey all its own. In a suite upstairs, she stood before a mirror framed with the golden light, her makeup artist making final touches while her stylist adjusted the delicate lace of her veil. The dress, a masterpiece of French silk and hand-sewn pearls, clung gently to her frame before flaring into a sweeping train. It was classic yet modern, understated yet regal. But what caught the attention of everyone in the room wasn't the dress, it was her expression. Calm, certain, radiant. This was not a woman stepping into uncertainty. This was a woman stepping into a future she had chosen. And then, the music shifted. A gentle swell of strings, joined by the faint, golden tones of a piano. The guests rose to their feet in a synchronized rustle of fabric, all heads turning toward the wide double doors now slowly opening. The light from the hallway framed her silhouette for the briefest moment before she stepped inside. Each step measured, the train of her dress gliding like a river of silk behind her. Jun-ho's eyes softened instantly. If there had been any doubt, any lingering speculation about the truth of their relationship, it was erased in that second. He didn't just look at her, he looked into her, as though the crowded room had vanished and it was just the two of them. And perhaps, in some way, it was. He reached the altar. The music faded to a gentle hum, replaced by the quiet thump of hearts and the faint sound of someone stifling tears in the back row. The officiant welcomed everyone, but his words were almost drowned out by the unspoken dialogue between the bride and groom, the little smile she gave him, the way he reached subtly to brush his fingertips against hers. When it came time for vows, Jun-ho took a deep breath. From the first day we met, challenged me, inspired me, and made me a better man, he began, his voice steady but charged with emotion. Through the years, whether in the spotlight or in the quiet moments, your presence has been my anchor. Today, I promise to be yours. Through every joy, every challenge, every chapter we have yet to write. Yoona's reply was soft but resolute. I've known you as a friend, a partner, and now, as the love of my life. You've shown me patience when I was restless, laughter when I was too serious, and courage when I doubted myself. Today, I promise to walk beside you, to hold your hand through the storms, and to never stop choosing you, every single day. Their vows hung in the air like a melody. With a swell of emotion from the crowd, the officiant declared them husband and wife. And as Jun-ho leaned in to kiss her, the ballroom erupted in applause. The sound was so thunderous it spilled out onto the street, where fans cheered without even having seen it. The reception was a seamless continuation of the magic. Tables draped in ivory linen were adorned with arrangements of white peonies and flickering candles. Guests dined on a menu that fused traditional Korean flavors with French haute cuisine. Each course paired with wines carefully chosen by the couple themselves. Laughter bubbled through the air as friends toasted to the newlyweds, sharing stories that ranged from deeply touching to riotously funny. At one point, Junho led Yoona onto the dance floor for their first dance. The lights dimmed, and a single spotlight followed them as they moved together in slow, graceful circles. He whispered something in her ear that made her laugh. The cameras caught the way she looked at him, utterly unguarded, utterly in love. As the evening wore on, the couple made their way to each table, greeting guests, thanking them for being part of their journey. No one seemed in a hurry to leave. Not when the night felt this warm, this golden. Outside, the city glittered like 1,000 diamonds. And somewhere beyond the walls of the ballroom, the world was already buzzing with the news. For years, they had endured the speculation, the headlines, the endless are they or aren't they debates. Tonight, they had answered in the most spectacular way possible, not with a press release, not with a photo op. A promise made before everyone who mattered. And in doing so, they had turned rumors into something far more powerful, reality. Part 2 would flow seamlessly from here. Into the intimate behind-the-scenes moments, the private gestures no camera caught, the aftermath in media and fandom. This wedding has shifted the narrative of their lives and careers forever. As Junho's words echoed through the ballroom, a hush swept over the guests. The kind of silence that carries weight, the kind that says everyone knows they are witnessing something that will be remembered for decades. Yoona's fingers tightened around his hand, eyes shimmering as if reflecting every flicker of candlelight in the room. She leaned toward the microphone, her voice steady but her breath trembling just slightly, betraying the storm of feelings behind her calm. I was afraid, she began, scanning the room as though speaking to each person individually. Afraid that our story would never be ours. Afraid that the world would twist it before we could protect it. But tonight, I'm not afraid anymore. Because we are standing here together. And that is all that matters. It was not the kind of declaration that was rehearsed or polished, it was raw, unguarded. Somewhere near the back, a list actor quietly wiped at his eyes. A stylist who had worked with Yoona for years clasped her hands over her mouth. Even the hotel staff, trained to be invisible, had subtly leaned in to catch every word. Then came the music, unexpected, unplanned. A friend from the industry, a famous ballad singer, stepped forward without warning, taking the piano seat. His voice, rich and aching with emotion, filled the room with a melody so haunting it seemed to stitch the moment into eternity. Junho turned to Yoona, her closer into his arms, swaying gently in time with his song. The guests, sensing the intimacy of what they were witnessing, lowered their voices to a whisper. But outside, the world was anything but quiet. The street was alive with the roar of fans and the relentless clicking of cameras. Reporters leaned forward, microphones extended, trying to catch even the faintest echo of what was happening inside. Social media was exploding, hashtags with their names shot to the top of trending lists in multiple countries. Clips of Yoona's entrance were already going viral. Yes, her smile, and the way Junho had looked at her breaking hearts and mending them at the same time. Back inside, the newlyweds began moving through the crowd again, hand in hand. At each table, they lingered, just offering polite thank yous but sharing genuine, personal exchanges. With a veteran actor who had been Junho's mentor, they bowed deeply, gratitude etched in their expressions. With Yoona's longtime best friend, they shared a burst of laughter over an inside joke that no one else could possibly understand. Then, just as the evening seemed to be winding down, a member of the couple's inner circle stepped up to the mic for a speech. His tone was playful at first, the early days when Yoona and Junho had pretended not to be more than colleagues. The crowd chuckled knowingly, and his voice softened. I've seen them on good days. I've seen them on hard days. And what I've learned is this: their love was never about grand gestures for the public, it was built on quiet loyalty, on showing up for each other when no one was watching. The applause that followed was slow, heartfelt. And in that moment, the couple looked at each other again, as if reaffirming silently what the world now knew. Finally, as the clock edged past midnight, Junho and Yoona made their way toward the grand exit. Doors opened to a wall of sound, fans calling their names. Camera shutters firing in rapid bursts. Instead of rushing past, they paused at the threshold. Junho lifted their intertwined hands into the air like a victory salute, while Yoona, radiant even under the blinding flashes, a simple thank you to the crowd outside. In that final tableau, the city lights glittering behind them, their silhouettes framed by the open doors, it was impossible to remember the months of gossip, the speculation, the supposed insider sources. All that remained was the undeniable truth: they had chosen each other, boldly and without apology. And in doing so, they had rewritten their own narrative. As their car pulled away, the ballroom began to empty. But no one left unchanged. Guests exchanged glances, aware they had just witnessed something rare, a love story that had survived the storm and emerged stronger, brighter, and more beautiful than before. Those who followed them from afar, the night had turned a page, not just in the couple's lives, but in the collective memory of every fan who had ever rooted for them. Because after tonight, Yoona and Lee Junho were no longer a question mark in the headlines. The answer. Thank you for staying with us until the very end of this unforgettable journey into Yoona and Lee Junho's stunning wedding. Your support means the world to us. We can't wait to bring you even more heartfelt stories and exclusive moments from the world of your favorite stars. Until next time, stay tuned, stay inspired, and goodbye for now from Red Carpet Reveal.